In the glittering, fast-paced world of New York City, a new socialite appeared on the scene, seemingly out of nowhere. Her name was Anna Delvey, and she claimed to be a German heiress with a massive trust fund of over 60 million euros. She dressed in expensive designer clothes, lived in luxury hotels, and handed out $100 bills as tips. Anna spoke with a vague European accent that was hard to place but sounded authentic enough to the wealthy people she surrounded herself with. She talked confidently about her grand plan to create an exclusive arts foundation, a dynamic club for the city's elite, and she needed the right connections to make it happen. People were drawn to her mysterious past and her ambitious vision for the future. Anna's story was a carefully constructed lie. Her real name was Anna Sorokin, and she was born in Russia, later moving to Germany with her working-class family. There was no vast fortune waiting for her back in Europe. The wealth she displayed was a mirage, built on a foundation of bad checks, fake wire transfer confirmations, and loans she never intended to repay. She masterfully played the part of someone so rich that money was a boring detail, an afterthought she couldn't be bothered with. This performance allowed her to weave her way into the highest echelons of New York society, convincing powerful people that she was one of them, a member of their exclusive club. The scam was audacious in its simplicity. When a hotel bill came due, her credit card would mysteriously be declined. She would promise a wire transfer was on its way, blaming international banking delays for the holdup. When she needed to secure a multi-million-dollar loan from a bank, she presented forged financial documents that made her look incredibly wealthy on paper. She invited friends on lavish, all-expenses-paid trips and then conveniently forgot her wallet, leaving them to foot the enormous bill. For a surprisingly long time, her confidence was her currency, and people bought into it without asking too many questions, eager to be associated with someone they believed was destined for greatness. Her ultimate goal was to secure a loan of over $20 million to launch the Anna Delvey Foundation. She got remarkably close, convincing powerful law firms and financial institutions to take her seriously. She leveraged the names of the influential people she met at parties and dinners, creating a web of connections that made her seem legitimate. The story of Anna Delvey is not just about a simple con. It is about how a person with the right look and the right story can exploit the assumptions and desires of a world obsessed with wealth and status. She knew what people wanted to see, and she became that person. A crucial element of Anna's deception was her appearance. She was a young, thin, white woman with a European accent. In the eyes of the banks, law firms, and socialites she encountered, she fit the stereotype of inherited old-world money. Her whiteness acted as a passport, granting her access to spaces and a level of trust that would have been unimaginable for a woman of color. When she walked into a bank to ask for millions of dollars, the people across the desk saw a familiar image of European aristocracy, not a potential criminal. This implicit bias was the key that unlocked every door for her. Her story was full of holes, but her appearance was convincing enough to make people ignore them. Imagine for a moment if a black woman had attempted the same scam. Picture her walking into a major bank, presenting flimsy documents, and asking for a $22 million loan. She would have faced intense scrutiny from the very first second. Every detail of her story would be questioned, her background would be meticulously checked, and security would likely be called before she even finished her pitch. The benefit of the doubt that was so freely given to Anna Delvey is a privilege that is rarely, if ever, extended to black women in America. The system is designed to be skeptical of black success, while it is conditioned to accept white claims to wealth at face value. Anna's victims, from powerful bankers to personal friends, later admitted they were charmed by her confidence and believed her story because it seemed plausible. Why? Because she looked the part. She was not questioned when her card was declined at a five-star hotel. Instead, the staff assumed it was a temporary issue with her foreign bank. She was not treated with suspicion, but with deference. This is white privilege in action. It is an invisible shield that deflects doubt and suspicion. Anna's scam was not just a testament to her cleverness, it was a glaring indictment of a system that is primed to trust whiteness, no matter how unbelievable the story attached to it may be. The entire saga demonstrates how deeply ingrained racial bias is within our financial and social institutions. These systems are not neutral, they are built on a history of assumptions about who is trustworthy, who belongs, and who is deserving of wealth. Anna Delvey did not have to work hard to earn people's trust. Her racial identity did the heavy lifting for her. Her story serves as a powerful and uncomfortable lesson about who our society chooses to believe and who it chooses to dismiss, often based on nothing more than the color of their skin. Her performance was a mirror reflecting society's own prejudices back at itself. While the media often portrayed Anna's story as a glamorous tale of a girl boss who outsmarted the rich, the reality is that her actions left a trail of real victims. These were not just faceless corporations. They were friends who trusted her and businesses that were left with tens of thousands of dollars in unpaid bills. One of her closest friends, Rachel Deloche Williams, was stuck with a $62,000 bill for a lavish trip to Morocco that Anna had promised to pay for. The emotional and financial toll of this betrayal was immense, leading Williams to help the police in their investigation to bring her former friend to justice. Her story highlights the personal cost of Anna's lies. Hotels and private jet companies were also major victims of her elaborate fraud. She lived in luxury hotels like 11 Howard and the Beekman for months, racking up enormous bills that she never paid. She chartered a private jet to a conference in Omaha and simply never sent the payment. For these businesses, the losses were significant, amounting to over $200,000 in total theft of services. While some may argue that these large companies can absorb the loss, her actions were still a crime. She exploited their policies and the trust they placed in her, leaving them to deal with the financial fallout of her extended performance of wealth. Beyond the financial damage, Anna's behavior revealed a stunning lack of remorse for the people she hurt. In interviews following her conviction, she has consistently downplayed her crimes, refusing to label herself a scammer and showing little empathy for her victims. When asked in a 2024 interview if she regretted scamming anyone, her answer was a blunt and simple, none. This cold dismissal of the harm she caused shows that her deceptions were not just a means to an end. They reflected a deep-seated disregard for the feelings and financial stability of others, including those who had considered her a friend. This lack of repentance makes her subsequent rise to fame all the more unsettling. She hurt people, broke laws, and betrayed trust on a fundamental level. Yet the narrative often shifts away from these victims and focuses instead on her audacity and style. It is crucial to remember that behind the designer clothes and viral headlines, there were individuals and businesses who paid a real price for her lies. Her story is not a victimless crime, and the people she deceived deserve to have their experiences acknowledged rather than overshadowed by the spectacle of her infamy. After serving time in prison, Anna Sorokin's story did not end with deportation or a quiet life out of the spotlight. Instead, she was rewarded with the very thing she always craved: fame and money. Netflix paid her over $300,000 for the rights to her life story, which was turned into the hit series Inventing Anna. While under house arrest and fighting deportation, she launched a reality TV show called Delvey's Dinner Club. In a truly stunning development, in September 2024 it was announced she would be a contestant on Dancing with the Stars, a mainstream platform for beloved celebrities. These media deals have transformed a convicted felon into a celebrated public figure. The public reaction to these opportunities has been swift and angry, with many pointing to the blatant double standard at play. On social media, commentators have called her case a textbook example of peak white privilege. They correctly argue that if Anna were a woman of color, she would not be getting a reality show. She would likely have been deported immediately after her prison sentence. The system that grants a white, non-citizen felon permission to travel from New York to Los Angeles for a TV show is the same system that deports countless people of color for far lesser infractions, often tearing families apart in the process. This contrast highlights a deep unfairness in how society treats crime and redemption. For Anna, her criminal past has become a marketable brand, a quirky backstory that makes her interesting to producers and audiences. She's given platform after platform to rehabilitate her image and profit from her notoriety. For people of color, a criminal record is often a life sentence, barring them from housing, employment, and any chance at a second act in the public eye. Anna's continued success is not a story of redemption. It is a story of a system that forgives and rewards certain people while punishing others for the same or even lesser mistakes. Ultimately, the story of Anna Delvey is a powerful lesson in how race, class, and appearance shape our perceptions of trust and criminality. She exposed the vulnerabilities of the elite, but more importantly, she exposed the deep-seated biases that govern our society. The fact that she can build a lucrative media career from the rubble of her scams is perhaps the most telling part of her story. It shows that in America, even when the con is over, White privilege can still deliver the ultimate prize, turning infamy into a fortune and leaving questions of justice and fairness unanswered.